One of Arthur C. Clarke's most frequently repeated quotes, and the third of what's become known as Clarke's three laws, is, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic."
Hello, welcome to my kitchen. As Arthur C. Clarke once said, any sufficiently advanced technology is distinguishable from magic. And you know what? This is magic. Looks like black water, smells like a little funky. Tastes like something ancient, deep, alive. If you're ever cooked with soy sauce and salt. So good. Why does this taste so good? Or why does my dish always come out too salty? This video is for you. Because once you get how soy sauce works, you cook like a pro. No guessing, no disasters, just magic. Here is how we're breaking it down. First, where soy sauce comes from. And spoiler, it didn't start in Japan. Then, how it's made, from koji to fermentation. We'll get into the flavor chemistry. And finally, how to actually use it right in Chinese cooking. So, soy sauce. You know, growing up in China, soy sauce was just there. Every kitchen had it. Every meal used it. Lettuce soil, duck soil, mushroom soil, seafood soil, you name it. I never really thought about it. It was just part of the background, like rice or chopsticks. But once I started cooking more seriously, especially when teaching people how to make Chinese food, I realized something. A lot of people outside China don't know what soy sauce really is, how it's made, what makes one different from another, and most of all, which one they should use. So, let's rewind a bit. Where did soy sauce come from? And how did it become what it is today? I've been reading on food and cooking and the normal guide to fermentation lately, and wow, they completely changed how I see soy sauce. I used to think of it as just a pantry staple, but now I see it as a product of thousands of years of accidental genius. First, the soybean. As noted in the normal guide to fermentation, as with almost every Asian civilization, China's early existence hinged on the domestication of nutrient-rich crops. What maize was to Mesoamerica, or chickpeas to the Middle East, soybeans were to East Asia. There is no more efficient way to produce protein than to grow soy. Most people know soybeans as two things, edamame and tofu. But guess what? That edamame is just a young soybean, basically a teenager version of the bean. And tofu, that's the same soybean, just changed into something totally different. But here is where it gets fun. When soybeans get fermented, that's when we get things like miso or doubanjiang, and of course, the star of the show, soy sauce. Think of it as a fermented soul of soybean. The first show you was, in all likelihood, a happy accident. Some Chinese cooks fermenting a batch of bean paste noticed a dark liquid pooling at the top of the container. They tasted it and were no doubt blown away by what they found. It takes a special understanding of deliciousness to look at one part of a whole and think, hey, this is damn good in its own right. The terminology surrounding soy sauce can be a bit murky, so let's clarify a bit before we proceed any further. When Chinese monks brought jiangs to Japan in the 6th century, jiangs evolved into misos, and the liquid they put on top of miso became known as tamari. Tamari is essentially the liquid byproduct of miso fermentation. No wheat involved, so it's naturally gluten-free. Today, many tamari-style soy sauces are brewed directly from soybeans and salt, with no wheat at all, which makes them perfect for anyone avoiding gluten. But tamari still shares the same microbial magic. Koji, salt, thyme, just with different proportions and flavor. Around the 17th century, European merchants got curious about Asia. England and Holland sent out fleets searching for trade, and this haul the West discovered to show you. Its addictive taste and long shelf life made it a prized condiment. Soy sauce traveled well on long voyages, brightening bland European food. It even became key sauces like Worcestershire, whatever. This one. French chefs loved how it improved classic dishes. Nicolas Auguste, a 19th century French expert, said a great chef's cooking gets much better with soy sauce, without any noticing it was used. The earliest Chinese junks blurred the line between what we would now consider the separate realms of miso, garam, and shoyu. They often contained meat or seafood, and jiangyou was originally a chunky, murky liquid, far different from any soy sauce we know today. Similarly, the earliest misos of Japan were a very light version of today's products. They contained all the same ingredients, but Heichu, aka proto-miso, was more like a cross between a miso and a soy sauce. So yeah, soy sauce started in China, but for a lot of people in the West, their first taste came from a sushi bar. And that's usually Japanese-style shoyu, you know, like kikomen. That shaped how the world sees soy sauce. Let's take it from the top, how traditional soy sauce is really made, step by step. Most Chinese and Japanese soy sauces follow a fermentation method that's been refined over centuries. They're made from just 4 ingredients: soybeans, wheat, salt, and water. First, soybeans are soaked and steamed until soft. The wheat is roasted to bring out a deep, nutty aroma, like a fresh baked bread. Then they're crushed and mixed together. Next, this mix undergoes a short fermentation with a malt called koji. Think of it as the fermentation starter, packed with enzymes that break down starches and proteins to unlock flavor. It rests in a warm place for a few days. Then, the koji is mixed with brine, around 20 to 23% salt, forming a thick mash called moromi, which is the heart of soy sauce fermentation. Different recipes vary, but ideally, the total salinity of the moromi should be around 15 to 16%, just salty enough to keep bad microbes out, while letting salt-tolerant microbes do their magic. This moromi ferments slowly, anywhere from 8 months to 3.5 years, like aging fine wine or cheese. The longer it rests, the deeper and rounder the flavor gets. During this time, animals in the koji keep breaking down proteins, starches, and fats, producing hundreds of flavor and aroma compounds. The animals work much faster in soy mash than in something thick like miso, because the fluid texture allows better movement and access. Meanwhile, beneficial salt-tolerant microbes contribute a touch of alcohol and layers of complex organic acids, adding depth, roundness, and funk. Over time, what started as a loose soup of soybeans and wheat turns into a sticky, glossy mass, like savory baby food. This is where the real flavor starts. Starch becomes sugar, proteins break down into amino acids, oil becomes fatty acids, the foundation of umami, that deep, savory taste we all love. When fermentation is done, the moromi is pressed, literally squeezed, to extra raw soy sauce. Then it's pasteurized. That's a gentle heat treatment. It keeps it safe to store, but also adds even more flavor. And finally, it's bottled, sealed up, and ready to hit your kitchen shelf. From soybeans to umami in a bottle, that's the magic of fermentation. Before we get into tasting, there is something important we need to talk about. Because honestly, tasting soy sauce without knowing where the flavor comes from is like drinking wine and not knowing it comes from grapes. And here is a fun fact. If you're a flavor nerd like me, scientists have identified over 300 aroma compounds in soy sauce. It's especially rich in volatile compounds, things like alcohols, acids, esters, aldehydes, ketones, phenols, pyrazines, pyrols, and sulfur-containing molecules. Together, they create soy sauce signature aromas: malty, caramel, cooked potato, floral, alcoholic, smoky, even fruity. So, where do all these flavors come from? Koji is one of the greatest domesticated microbes in human history. Some chefs even call koji edible magic, because it turns plain rice and beans into something that smells like fruit, flowers, and roasted nuts. It really is one of the greatest microbes humans ever domesticated. Here is what happens during the first stage of fermentation. Aspergillus oryzae, the mold we call koji, starts producing animals that break everything down. Starches in the wheat turn into sugars, bring subtle sweetness and balance. Proteins in the soybeans break down into amino acids like glutamate, giving umami. And oils in the seeds become fatty acids, forming rich, toasty aroma compounds. That kicks off a chain reaction. And during the long fermentation that follows, these simple building blocks evolve into hundreds of flavors and aroma compounds, from subtle sweetness to deep umami to rich, toasty aroma. That's how Koji builds the entire flavor of soy sauce. Without it, soy sauce just would be salty brown water. And here's the kicker: the longer it ferments, the deeper the flavor. Why are there so many kinds of soy sauce around the world? It mostly comes down to three things: ingredients, process, and culture. Chinese soy sauces usually have more soybeans and ferment for long, so they're rich, dark, and really savory. Japanese shoyu is lighter, smoother, and a little bit sweet. Some Thai soy sauces are super sweet and thick, almost like syrup, perfect for stir fries. Tamari comes from Japan too, and it's different because it has little or no wheat, so it's naturally gluten-free. It's thicker but not as salty as regular soy sauce. Then there is Indonesia's kakak manis, which is sweet and thick, often used even in desserts. They made it by adding spices like anise and cloves plus lots of palm sugar, cooking it down until it's syrup. Soy sauce has spread all over the world, from Europe to North America, but all of these regional versions show how different cultures have put their own spin on it. So, soy sauce isn't just one thing, it's a whole family of sauces, each with its own unique flavor and story. So yeah, one ingredient, but 100 personalities. What feels normal to you? Mine tastes totally different to me. Of course, not all soy sauces are made this way. Some cheaper, chemically produced versions skip fermentation entirely, but those taste nothing like the real thing. It tastes like shit. So, we're talking about how soy sauce is made, what's in it, and why it tastes amazing. But let's be honest, none of that helps when you're staring at this wall of bottles. Ever bought a soy sauce only to find it tastes nothing like the one you had at your favorite Chinese place? Or maybe you've been using the same bottle for years, not quite sure if you're doing it right. You're not alone. Ever walk into the Chinese supermarket and be hit by the soy sauce wall? It's not a shelf, it's a fortress. Bottle after bottle, label after label. Light soil, dark soil, mushroom soil, seafood soil, thin soil, sweet soil. If you don't know what you are looking for, it's chaos. It's like me staring at lipstick sheets. Look the same. But apparently, maple mocha and dusty rose are totally different. So let's keep it simple. What are these soy sauces? What makes them different? And which one should you grab first? Alright, let's break it down. Most of the time, we're just talking about two main types, light and dark. Just so you know, I'm not sponsored by any brand. This is what I kept in my kitchen, and it works great. Honestly, any good brand will do the job, so don't stress about it too much. What really matters is knowing the difference between these two types. Light soy sauce is the MVP of Chinese kitchens. If a recipe just says soy sauce without being specific, it's the one you splash into stir fries. Like you may soak up the marinade, or you stir it into a dipping sauce, like a pro. Some people call it all-purpose soy sauce, and honestly, they're not wrong. It's thinner, saltier, and super easy to mix into anything. No waiting, no guessing, just instant umami. If soy sauces were shoes, this would be your go-to sneakers. Dark soy sauce is your go-to for color. It's thicker, darker, and the name suggests, and just a little sweeter. That sweetness comes from molasses or other sugars added during fermentation. It's less salty than light soy, but way more dramatic, which means stir fry with caution unless you want your tofu to turn into a brownie. When you use both, stick to this ratio. 2 parts light, 1 part dark, or even 3-to-1. The point is, use dark sauce sparingly. Taste as you go. Like salt. Once it's in, it's in. Honestly, these two, light and dark, are all you really need. Anything else? That's extra credit. Asia really said, why stop at 2? But for now, just start with these two. They're classic, they're versatile, they won't let you down. A closer look at light soy sauce. At first glance, it looks almost black in the bottle, but once you pull it out, surprise, it's more of a reddish dark brown, almost golden even. Honestly, it's kinda pretty. It's not as jet black as you might think. Now, let's taste. No finger, no taste. Yeah, it's salty, but there is real depth to it. No sweet, just warm, toasty, almost nutty. And look, it's super thin and runny. Clear, smooth, and ready to mix it into anything. Think of it this way. If soy sauce were a drink, this would be a nice amber ale. Balanced, approachable, full of flavor. A closer look at dark soy sauce. First thing you'll notice is way darker. Not quite as black as ink, but close. It's thinner too, not syrup thick, but definitely richer than light soy. Perfectly for sticky stir-fries, it cleans like a pro, but don't go overboard. Light soy brings the flavor, dark soy brings the drama. It adds color, a bit of sweetness, and a nice shining glaze. Let's taste. No finger, no taste. Sweet, mellow, less salty, bold, but smooth. Use it wisely. Mix with light soy, and boom, kitchen magic. Cooking is all about what tastes good to you. So mix it up, experiment, have fun. Once you get this two done, the soy sauce universe is yours. Mushroom soil, low sodium soil, sweet soil, double fermented soil. Explore freely. Next time I'll take you on a flavor tour. Japan, Thailand, and beyond. But until then, just open that bottle. Taste it, play with it, find what speaks to you. End of the day, cooking comes down to one thing: making people happy. You and the people you cook for. If you like this, hit that subscribe button. More flavors coming your way. And you're officially a soy sauce PhD. Thank you for watching. See you next week.